Hello to some. What's up to some? Good evening to some, and to the saints of God. Praise the Lord. How y'all doing today? I'm one of the hosts of Sticks and Stones. So if this was Sticks and Stones, I'll say something like this: your boy, Chips Ahoy, Almond Joy, Checker Boy Floyd, Tim Clark here, doing our Power Conference interview, guys. We have a power-packed week planned just for you, and who better to speak about it than one of our bishops, actually the first presiding bishop of the Lively Stone Fellowship of Churches, Bishop J.L. Jackson. Bishop, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Tim, I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. I ain't seen you in a while. How's it been going?
It ain't been that long, Tim. I just saw you a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. We were just together in April. Don't do me like that.
Yeah, I guess
you feel bad.
No, it's been April, but it'll be really, the screen is okay, but it'll be good to see you in person real soon.
Most definitely.
Mr. Jackson, we have a lot planned next week. But first, before we get started, there may be some that haven't seen your face, and that's very unlikely. Because you do a small introduction for us, please?
Most definitely. I am Bishop J.L. Jackson. I am the assistant presiding bishop of Lively Stone Fellowship of Churches. I'm also the provincial bishop for the Eastern Province, covering churches from as far north as North Carolina, as far as south as North Carolina. I'm sorry, as far as north as New York, and as far as south as North Carolina, all the way over to Indiana. So, large territory, half of the country, and the Lord has blessed us to be able to lead, share, and cover churches. I am the lead pastor of the Refreshing Church in the wonderful city of Roanoke, Virginia. So that's who I am. I am so lively. I'm here, and looking forward to an amazing week. Hanging out with the saints.
Yes, sir. So, Bishop Jackson, like I just said, we have a lot of things planned for our tracks and a lot of services. Could you just give us some takeaways? What are we expecting the people to be able to take away from this great conference next week?
But Tim, listen, always we have an amazing time when we come together. Our conference every year, our Power Conference, is a time of leadership development. It's a time of implementation. It's a time of iron sharpening iron. We can come together and sharpen our tools, sharpen our fellowship one with another, as well as gain new information to make us better servants, better saints, better leaders, better pastors, better preachers, better singers, better technicians within our local churches. And so our Power Conference every day, every year is centered around in development and empowerment, so that when you go back home, you got the tools that you need to be successful in your church, in your family, in your community, even in your job.
Yes, sir. So, Bishop, before we got on here, you said you the track leaders of the track leaders. Okay, so all of the tracks, they running straight through you. Okay, so I know we got our worship and knowledge track. We have our women in ministry. We have our our media track. But we also have some other tracks that deals with servant leadership. So I know it's a lot of servant leaders that will be here next week. If you can speak to the servant leaders individually, or just the people in participation of rendering services to others, what would you like to say to those people?
Well, first of all, as the assistant presiding bishop, I'm fortunate to work with our presiding bishop, Bishop Lee Scott, in conference planning and implementation. One of those responsibilities is to lead the track leaders who are responsible for planning out the tracks during the week, which means we have a lot of information that's going to be shared from each of those tracks. What I'm especially excited about is the servant leaders track, because there are many servant leaders, and servant leader does not mean that one is an adjutant, an armor bearer, but there may be deacons, there may be stewards, ushers, things of that nature that are able to come together and serve as they lead within their local churches. And so that's one thing that I'm excited about, is sharing with them, some tools and some strategies that they'll be able to have. One piece of that we're going to do is we're going to partner with a couple of other tracks and do some collaboration during the week. One of them, I believe, is evangelism and knowing how to serve, not just within the four walls of the church, but also knowing outside the four walls. And there's a lot that we can do about that. We can partner with our pastors and partner with our churches beyond what we see on Sundays. But there's a lot of ministry that can take place, as well as with the mental health track that we are introducing this year. We've done a few pieces throughout the years on mental health. This year we're going to partner with the mental health track, introducing a whole track just on mental health. We're plugging it in throughout the conference. One of those sessions will actually be in the servant leaders track, because as we serve in ministry, as we lead while we serve while we lead, we get burnt out. And mentally, it can weigh on us, not just spiritually, but also mentally, physically, emotionally, all those areas of our lives. So I'm excited that those pieces are going to be there. We're going to also talk about serving in excellence. We're going to talk about, some woes, some pros, and some cons of serving. We're going to share some war stories, show our wounds. Look, this is what happened to me.
Right.
We're looking to have fun.
Yes, sir. Bishop, I'm glad you mentioned that. So this kind of leads me right to my next question. Bishop, you're not just a bishop, you're not just a pastor, you're not just, a servant leader, but you're also a husband, you're also a father. And you just mentioned, sometimes we can get burnt out, we can get worn out, we can take too much of a beating and not necessarily, bounce back. Sometimes it feels like, Bishop, personally, how do you balance all of the things that are on your plate? I know you deal in Roanoke in some personal things. Yeah. I know you do. You deal in the government and all those things. How do you balance, man? How do you balance all of that's going on in your life?
Ooh, what a question. What a question, Jeff. Balance has to be a choice. Balance doesn't always happen organically. Balance becomes a choice that one makes that says, I'm going to not do this, so I can't do this. I'm going to not attend an event so I can make sure I'm at home. You have to make the conscientious decision to balance your life. And so I've had to learn, I'm still learning. My wife will tell you I'm still trying to figure it out. How to create those balances as a bishop, as a pastor, as an assistant presiding bishop, as a husband, as a father, as a community leader, as a social activist, as an engager, and as an influencer. I have a lot of things that are on my plate, and I don't always get it right. But I have to make a conscientious decision. I have to make reminders, follow up on this, and call this person, reach out to that person. Yeah. Don't forget this group. I have to make sure I select weeks or days on my calendar to block them off. Don't allow my staff to plan anything at that time. So it has to be conscientious. I have to put forth the effort and the choice. Make the choice to balance it all. Because if I don't balance it, it will balance me.
It'll throw you off balance, right? Okay. So that was off the cuff. I know you wasn't expecting that one. All right, so I got you.
You got me on that.
So I got another one. All right, so if anybody knows you, we know that you are the protocol presentation person. Okay, we know that about you. Okay, so last week on Sticks and Stones, we had a very interesting conversation. We're probably going to continue this on Friday this week. We had a very interesting conversation about presentation and the importance of presentation. could you express the importance of our presentation and our address, not just for the clergy, not just for the delegates, but period in the household of faith?
Certainly. First impressions are lasting impressions. And the first book that people will read concerning your life is the book that they see, what they see. And I was trained old school. So my grandfather primarily raised me. My grandparents, my parents, all of my life. My father was a national evangelist. At that time, our itinerant ministry was far beyond what it is now. He was going for weeks at a time during revivals.
Wow.
So it was daily that my grandfather spent time with me in teaching me and training me to make sure your shoes were shined at all times. Your heels were shined. Your shoes weren't run over. Your hair was combed. Your clothes were clean. Your breath smelled right. Make sure you smell like something. Make sure you got money in your pocket. Those simple things are called first impressions of lasting impression. And unfortunately now, people just don't care. Where a woman will go to Walmart, Costco with a bonnet on her head, flip-flops or house shoes on. But I'll let, what's her name? Mo? I'll let her talk
Monique.
about that. Monique. I won't get into that. I'll let her talk about that.
Right.
But it is, you have to be received as something, you have to present something. And if people only see you as broke, busted, and disgusted, that's the way they will entreat you. That's the way they will respond to you. But even if you are broke, with no job, with nothing to show for yourself, but yet you show up as though you are somebody. You show up to a job interview as the one that deserves the job. You own the job. You got to own it before you know it. And that comes in our presentation. I believe we should always put forth our best foot. Now, trust me, we all have our bummy days.
Right.
We just don't feel like it, And
Right.
you're entitled to those. But it should be every day that's your bummy day.
Yeah. Right.
It should be every day.
Not every
It shouldn't
day.
be most of the time. It should be, every now and then you got one of those days. I've been put together. Today is that one day I just couldn't do it. And we give you that pass. But I certainly believe we should look like something. We should sound like something. We should take our time. We should be able to articulate what we're saying. We should be able to think clearly. We should be polished at all times, regardless of what the situation, the circumstance, the surroundings, the atmosphere is. We don't let the atmosphere control us. We control the atmosphere.
That's right.
We, as saints, we're supposed to dominate the atmosphere and shift the power. So if it doesn't look like it's your best atmosphere at the moment, it doesn't matter. I'm here now.
Right.
I step into the room. It's my turn.
Yes, sir. Well, saints, we heard from the bishop first. Hey, next week, June 16th through the 19th, make sure you look like something. You should smell like something. You should sound like something. All right, put yourself together. All right, we're going to be in the house.
You threw me in there for that one. I got
Yes,
you.
sir. That's right. All right, so y'all heard it from the bishop. All right, just look. If he say so, if he give you that look, you know what's going on. All right.
Don't have me in trouble, Tim.
No. Hey, so mypowerconf.com. That's MIPOWERCONF.com. That's where we go to register for the Power Conference. You do not want to miss it. There is something for everybody. There's something just for you. Make sure you are in the place. Hey, this year we're doing it both in person and virtually. There's no excuse. Make sure we register and come into the place. We want to thank you, Bishop Jackson, for joining us today.
Not a problem, man. Thank you.
Hey, man, we're going to have you on a Friday, man. This is a good conversation. We can keep going.
Hey, you call it, I'll haul it.
Yes, sir. Hey, we might send you a link, okay? Until next week. We'll see you next week, Bishop, and we see you guys in the place. Y'all have a good one.